Welcome back to The Explainer. We spend a lot of time turning complex data into clear visual knowledge. But I am absolutely thrilled you're here today because we're going on a deeply personal, totally fascinating journey inside ourselves. We're going to uncover the macroscopic and microscopic mechanisms that literally keep us alive every single second of the day.
So what does it actually take to keep the ultimate machine running? I want you to think of the human body for a second, not just as flesh and bone, but as a bustling, flawlessly engineered metropolis. Think about it. There's an intricate infrastructure network, an energy grid, a highly efficient waste management system, and an ultra-fast communications array. It is, without a doubt, the most sophisticated city in the universe, and you are living inside of it right now.
All right, to understand how this metropolis thrives, here's our roadmap for today. 1. The blueprints of you. 2. Form dictates function. 3. The body's neighborhoods. 4. The 11 organ systems. And 5. The ultimate goal, homeostasis. Let's get right into it.
Section 1, the blueprints of you.
Now, our study of the body is basically split into two complementary halves. Over on the left, we've got anatomy. This is the structure, the form. Actually, the word itself comes from a Greek root meaning to cut apart. So this is looking at everything from the gross anatomy, meaning the large visible organs like your heart or your brain, all the way down to microscopic cytology, where we study the roughly 30 trillion individual cells that make up you. Then on the right side, we have physiology. This is the function. It's the chemistry and physics of how all those structures actually support life. You really can't understand what the body does without understanding how it's built. In biology, we rely on a classic paradigm. Form dictates function.
Section 2, form dictates function.
Okay, let's dive into this and see exactly how form dictates function in real time. We're going to zoom way in to see this in action. We'll start with the gross anatomy of a skeletal muscle, something you can easily see with the naked eye. But as we strip away the connective tissue, we reveal a fascicle, and then down further to a single muscle fiber, and finally, right down to the myofibril. It turns out that a solid chunk of muscle is actually made of thousands of tiny striated fibers arranged in parallel. It's kind of like a giant biological cable. This completely proves that our large, macroscopic bodily movements totally rely on this incredible microscopic architecture. Now, what's really interesting is what happens when we zoom in even further to the functional unit of the muscle, the sarcomere. Take a look at the structure on the left, bordered by what we call Z-discs. On the right, notice those overlapping bands of red and blue. The thick red filaments are a protein called myosin, and they have these tiny little globular heads sticking out. The thin blue filaments? That's actin. When a muscle contracts, these filaments don't actually shrink. No way. They physically slide past one another. This invisible, microscopic cellular action is literally the only reason you can type on a keyboard or lift a cup of coffee. This whole process is known as the sliding filament theory, and it perfectly illustrates our rule. Here's how it plays out. Step 1, an electrical signal causes the release of calcium ions. Step 2, those little myosin heads I mentioned, they grab onto the actin, forming what are called cross bridges. And step 3, the myosin heads drag the actin filaments along, pulling those Z-discs closer together, and boom, shortening the sarcomere. Millions of these tiny structural movements happen all at once to create the physiological action of lifting your arm or taking a step. The structure of the cellular machinery creates the functional action. It's just brilliant.
Section 3, the body's neighborhoods.
Let's zoom back out from the microscopic level for a minute. Our organs don't just float around randomly inside of us. They're highly organized into major fluid-filled spaces called body cavities. We basically have two main compartments. First is the dorsal cavity at the back, which is heavily armored. It includes the cranial and vertebral cavities, and they're specifically designed to protect your very delicate brain and spinal cord. Second is the ventral cavity at the front, which gets divided by your diaphragm. Above the diaphragm is the thoracic cavity, housing your heart and lungs, and below it is the abdominopelvic cavity, which holds your digestive and reproductive organs. These fluid-filled spaces are absolutely crucial because they allow organs to expand and contract, like think of your lungs inflating or your stomach churning without disrupting the adjacent tissues. It's a lot like traffic flowing smoothly through distinct separated city neighborhoods.
Section 4, the 11 organ systems.
Now that we understand the neighborhoods, it is time to meet the essential public services that keep the city running. 11. That is the exact number of distinct, complex organ systems working tirelessly in perfect coordination inside of you right at this very moment. Let's break them down by their primary roles. First up, we've got infrastructure and movement. We can group 3 heavily interrelated systems here. The integumentary system, that's your skin, hair, and nails, forms the protective barrier and physical borders of your body while also regulating your temperature. Right beneath that is the skeletal system, providing the rigid framework, protecting internal organs, and storing vital minerals. And finally, the muscular system, which attaches to that framework to generate movement, maintain your posture, and actually produce heat through cellular metabolism. Together, these 3 dictate your entire physical form. Next up is control and regulation. And this brilliantly illustrates how the body communicates with itself using 2 entirely different speeds. The nervous system is your high-speed fiber optic network. Your brain, spinal cord, and nerves use rapid electrical impulses to coordinate voluntary and involuntary actions instantly. In stark contrast, the endocrine system is, well, it's more like a broadcast radio network. It uses glands, like the thyroid and pituitary, to secrete hormones into the bloodstream for the slow, long-term chemical regulation of things like growth and metabolism. Moving on to the city's logistics and supply chain, transport and exchange. The cardiovascular system is the body's superhighway, pumping blood to deliver oxygen, and get this, it does it through about 60,000 miles of blood vessels, while simultaneously hauling away waste. But where does it get these raw supplies? Well, the respiratory system provides the oxygen by exchanging gases with the outside environment, and the digestive system processes the food you eat, using mechanical and chemical digestion to extract absorbable nutrients, vitamins, and water. These 3 are locked in a constant, dynamic loop of supply and demand. Finally, we look at maintenance and continuity. The lymphatic system acts as both a fluid filtration mechanism and your primary immune defense, protecting the whole city from invaders. The urinary system acts as the sanitation department. Your kidneys are constantly filtering the blood to remove metabolic waste and maintain your delicate electrolyte balance. And lastly, the reproductive system. While the other 10 systems are dedicated entirely to keeping you alive, the reproductive system is uniquely dedicated to the survival of the human species as a whole through the production of gametes. Section 5. The ultimate goal, homeostasis. So, with all that said, why do all 11 of these wildly different systems even exist? What brings the electrical sparks of the nervous system, the sliding filaments of the muscular system, and the chemical baths of the digestive system all together? Every single thing in your anatomy and physiology is in service to a single unified goal, homeostasis. It is a steady state of internal balance. Whether you are sleeping deeply in your bed or running a grueling marathon, your body is constantly monitoring and adjusting your pulse, your respiratory rate, your hormone levels, and your temperature. If an external factor pushes your temperature up to, say, 102.5 degrees, your nervous system detects it immediately, your integumentary system starts sweating, and your cardiovascular system dilates blood vessels, all working together to bring you right back down to that golden number of 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit. To summarize our entire journey today, this quote hits the nail on the head. The human body consists of many interacting systems. These interact to maintain homeostasis, keeping the body in a stable state with safe levels of substances such as sugar and oxygen in the blood. That right there is the beautiful cooperative nature of our biology. The microscopic cells build the tissues build the organs, and those organs team up into the 11 systems, all cooperating seamlessly to keep your internal environment perfectly balanced. Which brings us to our final thought. With 11 remarkably complex systems working flawlessly in the dark just to keep you alive, isn't it time we marveled at our own biological machinery? You are an absolute miracle of biological engineering. I really hope this structured look at your anatomy and physiology has sparked your curiosity to learn even more about the incredible metropolis operating inside of you right now. Keep learning, keep marveling, and I will catch you in the next explainer.